So for me, sometimes I just want to get right to the vision, start right where the vision started at. But that's not that's not the way it is. So there's a process we all must go through. We must start. We must go through a process, and we must finish it to get to the reward of it all. So that's one of my issues. And so I'm learning now to convince myself to conquer the fear, by continuing to pray and trust God more. And more than that, sometimes I have to look within myself to ask myself, where did that part of me come from? How did that become a part? I want everything to be perfect. I want everything to go just right. The fear of it not. So I tend to delay it or postpone it until in my mind it's right enough. It's good enough. So nothing's ever perfect. We must go through a process. We must make mistakes to learn from them. I understand all these things, but sometimes our minds are wired a certain way, and it's difficult to get out of those thoughts and to come away from who you truly are inside. No one understands how you think but you. No one understands how you feel about it but you. And sometimes if you're confused about it, you can't expect someone else to know. So we have to express ourselves. We have to explain to people why we are the way we are. What are our triggers? What makes us hesitate? What makes us stop? And I have this thing where I tell my wife I feel stuck in certain things that I desire to do, but I couldn't really explain it to where she understood it. So today I was looking up something and I ran across the word paralysis. And I was like, wow, that's the word. Never been paralyzed physically, but sometimes I feel paralyzed mentally. And it's not a good place to be. It's not a desirable place to be. There's nothing wrong with taking a moment. There's nothing wrong with gathering things and getting information, but I found out today it feels like a mental paralysis because I've procrastinated with this certain thing for so long to where I feel like sometimes I can't move. Sometimes I don't know if it's okay now to even move because it's been so long. So it's a struggle internally. So I'll stop there and let her tune in, but that's just a little bit about me and my procrastination and why I procrastinate. That's the perfectionist side of me and the fear now that comes from the perfectionist side of me.
So I'm sure we all can relate, right? So I'm the opposite, I'll say, because I'm always like, what's next? What's next? I want to do it. I want to go out there and push myself. But there are areas of my life where I have procrastinated and I have not done what God has given me to do. I have ran away and said, I'm not doing that. Nope, not doing it. Even though I, knew what I was supposed to be doing. So the question, I have some questions because I see people are coming on. Hello, everybody. We got Tanika. We got Kaya. I want to make sure it's right. Let me know. Okay. Is it Kaya or Kai? So one of the things I want to ask you is how many of you right now are in a relationship with somebody, or this could be you now, who has acknowledged that they need, they stuck, they've been procrastinating, and maybe they need a little help, but they have not gotten that help yet. I'll be honest. There was a long time in my life where I did not get help for some things that I had dealt with, that trauma that happened when I was younger. I didn't want to deal with it, so I swept it under the rug and I wouldn't deal with it over and over and over again. And what happened is I got angry and bitter, and I thought I was good, right? it was manifesting in different areas. And I'm gonna call my husband in because I didn't get help, because I was staying and keeping it underneath, sweeping under the rug. How did you feel when I did that? Tell me how you felt when I didn't get the help I needed, and I was saying I can take care of this myself. I'm okay. I'm good. Procrastinating getting professional help or any type of help. How'd you feel?
It felt like reaching for something you can see, but not being able to connect with it.
Mm-hmm.
So you were right there next to me.
Mm-hmm.
I could hold your hand. I can hold you in my arms. I can speak words of affirmation. I could be as kind as I could be, but I still felt like I wasn't reaching you.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the void, and I felt helpless.
Mm.
And a certain point of it all, I started to feel a little hopeless.
Mm.
I was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to say. I've done all I know how to do.
Yeah.
I prayed about it, and I prayed for patience. Pray for just the endurance to stay in it. And I pray that the love that I have for you would be the very thing that keep me in it. And the love of God for you and the love that he gave me for you. And I said, okay, well, let me disconnect from trying so hard and pray and allow God to speak to our heart. Allow her to hear God's voice. Maybe my voice is not what needs to be heard right now. Maybe she needs to feel the love, feel the support. So I had to learn my place.
Well, hold on a minute, because I'm talking about probably before we got married. Now. Before we got married. Because that's when you were dealing with the real Amikia.
Yeah. Especially when you after you had our son, Akeem. Mm-hmm. That was a very difficult moment. I would look at you sometimes and like, what is it? I would want to hug you, and you would kind of back away, and you were going through some things.
Mm-hmm.
And you were kind of the same way with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, there's something going on here that I don't understand. I'm not a woman. I never had a child. I never had those emotions. And there's something going on that I truly don't understand. Because I was only, how old? In my 28.
28.
Yeah, 28 years. So no male figure in my life to talk to. We were all alone in Virginia, and it was like, okay, what do I do with this energy, this moment, this time of our lives? And the newborn baby that needs both of us.
How long were you willing to stay or wait? Because it was one point that you kind of got tired.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that came with the conversation.
Yeah.
And the conversation was basically, what is it? I need to know what it is to know what I need to do. Because right now it's like I'm just walking in the dark with my hands out trying to reach you and hope you are, wherever I reach you are there. But it was just darkness.
Yeah.
And I felt like I couldn't reach you.
So I want to speak to the darkness, right? So dealing with trauma, childhood abuse, trauma, and not being able to really understand how to articulate that, on top of postpartum depression. My son was born 11 weeks premature. They had to do an emergency C-section. I'm in a Navy hospital where they are training. So I felt like they had ripped me open. I had this big old ugly scar. I just really was going through what I didn't know at the time. On top of all my childhood abuse, I was also dealing with postpartum depression, but there wasn't a name back then that we could really name what it was or identify what we needed to do to get help. So I was a hot mess in myself, and then that bled over to him, but I didn't get help. Can you turn it off for me? I didn't get help. So that's what we're talking about today. How many times are we in a situation where we know we need help, whether you're the person that need help or you're the other person on the receiving end watching that person that know they need help. They say they need help, but they won't get help. We're going to talk about that today because how long do you wait? Yeah, no judgment. We just need to know the reality of if you've been waiting for weeks, months, years, because that timeline matters when we talk about what do we do about it. If we're sitting with somebody, like if, and again, hindsight 2020, if I was who I am now, looking at the person I was back then, I probably wouldn't have stayed. I would have been gone because it was a lot. It was a lot to deal with. So what we want to talk about is thinking about your situation, or even think, and it could be anything. It could be a relationship with your sister, your mom, your significant other. It don't have to be in a committed relationship, engaged, a boyfriend, girlfriend. It could be any type of relationship because this happens all the time with any relationship. Let's just say maybe you got a girlfriend who has some emotional issues, or she's dealing with some anger issues, or maybe there's some emotional unavailability. She always wants you to do something for her, but she ain't never available for you. And we want to talk about that. Why is that? Why do people like have all these issues? It could be anger problems, it could be depression, it could be anxiety, it could be trauma, it could be addiction, it could be intimacy issues. Something that's affecting you and that other person in that relationship. So we're going to talk about someone saying, we're going to just use us as an example. And I'll say for me, I say I'm going to get therapy because I need some help. I really need some help trying to really work through the things that I'm going through, so that this could be a better experience for us. But I say it, but I don't do it. And I'm still acting out in the behavior. And that a week go by, another week go by, a month go by. And then I start saying therapy is expensive. I'm trying to figure out if I can afford it. Right? Then it starts to turn into doubt. Like, Andre over here looking like, is she really going to get some help? Or is she just giving me lip service? Because she knows she needs it, but she ain't getting it. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this, I'm going to turn it over to you. Sometimes when we're in relationships, regardless of what it is, and that person won't get help, they're not saying no. They're not refusing. So you can't be mad at them for outright rejecting the idea. They're saying yes, but they're saying not now. And that not now becomes indefinite. So I'm gonna turn it over to you because you had some things that you wanted to share of why this happens, and then I'm going to share some things that I picked up of why some things happen. I'm going to elaborate too. So I'm gonna turn it over to you. Why do we procrastinate? Tell me some reasons you think we procrastinate.
Fear of failure, fear of how we think other people are going to perceive or maybe not even receive what we have to offer, which comes back to, low self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
We worry too much about what other people are going to say or if they're even going to support us.
Yeah.
So we worry so much about the outcome before we even get started.
Mm-hmm.
So we allow the energy of others to stop us. And for me, I was like, wow, I pray every day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, but I'm still procrastinating in certain areas of my life. So do I really have the faith I say I have? Am I really praying with the faith that I think I have? Am I already living according to the faith that I say I have? And how does procrastination, does it cancel out my faith, or does it just mean that I've allowed fear to consume me in places of my life to where I need to trust more?
Mm-hmm.
I need to believe more. What is that all about? So I think about, the things God has given me to do. And there's even a fear of dying with those things not started or left undone.
Can we plug that real quick? Because that happens a lot. We procrastinate so much. There's so many people that have procrastinated so much that their dreams, their aspirations went to the grave with them. We can't let that be us. We cannot allow that to be you haven't done anything. And aside from the grave, I mean, I think about now, all these years, I'm now stepping into what I'm supposed to be doing 20 years ago. How many of us have been procrastinating, doing something, getting help and you're just sitting there. You're sitting there. You're praying, and that's good to pray. But faith without works is dead. I'm just saying. Go ahead. Sorry.
And sometimes we deceive ourselves into saying, well, I'm just waiting for the right time. I'm just waiting to certain things line up. I'm just waiting for, there's nothing wrong with waiting, because waiting means you're waiting on God's timing. But when God says yes, when God says go, you're no longer in the waiting season. Now you're procrastinating. Now you're putting it off. Now you're being indecisive. And what that means is, I was reading something here. Procrastinating. This is when you delay action and put off important tasks that God is calling you to do. Often in the name of waiting, it is characterized by indecision and a failure to act when the time is right. And there's also it's a scripture that went with it. The sin of omission. And this says, according to the Bible, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. James 4:17. This means that failing to act when you know you should is considered a sin. And to elaborate on that, I always tell people, since we all have purpose, according to God's plan and God's will, there's someone or something attached to your purpose.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. So when you don't move accordingly, when you don't react or respond to God's word, and when he gives you an assignment accordingly, those things and people attached, they'll be affected as well. Because we all have some type of impact or influence along someone else's journey.
Yeah.
So it's not just about us and getting what we need and doing what we're supposed to be doing. Because we're always thinking about, well, I do this to please God. But if God lives within you and you're moving by his spirit, by that same spirit, he can and will reach someone else. That's where the connection comes from. Not by you doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But by you carrying out the assignment. And when someone else connects with the God in you, they'll know it because the timing will be right.
Yeah.
But when you're not aligned, that assignment could be aborted and someone's life may be dependent on it.
Yeah.
So we have to keep moving in this journey of life. We have to keep going on the path that God has us on. We have to get over that fear. We have to face those things that are within us that cause us to be indecisive, have low self-esteem, think we're not good enough. I think we've done so many things in our lives where people don't want to listen to us now. We've ruined our reputation, all those things that we say about ourselves to discourage our own selves. So sometimes not even about people, we do a good job at doing it to ourselves. And then we want to blame somebody else for saying something negative when we said all these things to ourselves before they even said a word.
Come on.
So you've already counted yourself out before they got to it. So we have to keep going. We have to keep moving. We have to keep living. We have to keep giving as God gives to us because it's for a purpose. It's according to his plan. And you never know who you can help. You never know who you can present God to as you represent God.
Yeah.
So I'll stop there and let you chime in.
I want to say one thing about yours before I jump into the things that I've kind of outlined. If God is giving you something, and you're not doing it, or you're not operating in a purpose, you know this is a direct assignment from God, it's disobedience, period. You're being disobedient to the Creator. But we say, I pray, I'm asking God to show me. He already showed you. He already told you. You just keep sitting on it. And again, to Andre's point, there's nothing wrong with waiting, but there's never going to be a right time to do something. There's never going to be a right time for you to get yourself together. You're already together. Let's go. What are you waiting for? I'm gonna plug that because we're gonna get to these comments I see out here. We're gonna get to the comments right after I go over my few that I'm thinking about, because I want to hear from you. If any of these things that I'm about to say resonate with you, I want to call you in. And this is a no judgment zone. We're not judging you, but we are bringing and saying reality. We are checking ourselves and saying, this me. I'm dealing with this stuff. I got some things going on that I really, really need to get some help on. But figure out what is it that I need to do. So 1 second, let me pull it up and see what's going on here. Okay, here I got stigma, right? Especially if you're in a Black community. It is what it is. We sometimes growing up, we didn't experience our parents getting therapy all the time. Like it wasn't something that we did. I've heard, I'm not telling them people my business. I'm like, but they don't really even know you. Like, and they are experts in that, right? So we say, therapy is for crazy people. We think that needing mental health supports. I'm sorry. Thinking that we need mental health means that we're weak, that we're broken, or we can't handle life. That is not what that means. Everybody has times where, there's a lot going on. And sometimes things get so heavy that we like, I can handle, but you really can't. Because that's why we have mental breakdowns, because we don't get the help before time. And then it's like so many things are piling upon us that we just can't bear it no more. Again, I go back to God places people in our lives that are expert in certain areas. A heart surgeon, they know what they're doing. You ain't gonna operate on your own heart. The second thing is, before I do the second thing, if you think about our historical background, as African American Black people, we have been experimented on, we have been mistreated, we have been abused. Even in 2025, there's still some racial disparities that are happening out there, right? I can give you an example. I went to the doctor probably a couple years ago, and I had some chest pains. And she looked at me, she did all the x-rays or whatever. She was like, yeah, you got a little spot here, but you okay. She was gonna send me home, and I was still in the same pain that I came in. It had not subsided. But there was a Black lady that came in, and she said, "You like you still in pain?" I said, "I am." She said, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to have us do some additional tests, and I'm going to keep you overnight." And what happened was I had pneumonia in my right lung, and I'm telling you, that pain hurt so bad. And they were able to treat me. And before I got out, I was, they gave me some medication. I was good. But had she not just been someone that looked like me, I might not have got that opportunity. I would have went home with pneumonia in my lungs without the proper treatment, and who knows what would have happened. So again, sometimes because of our experience, is that stigma of, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do this. The second thing that I have is, Andre said this, fear of what you're going to discover. Going to therapy means that you got to look at yourself. You got to look at yourself honestly and say, what is wrong with me? And sometimes what that does is kind of terrifying. It's kind of frightening to peel back those layers, and now you got to deal with you. Why not? Everybody else dealing with you. You need to deal with yourself. I'm just saying, let me digress and come back. What if I'm more damaged than I thought? What if you are? Then get the help that you need, right? What if the therapist tells me I'm the problem? then you the problem. Don't you want to don't you want to get help? You might be the problem in your relationship. And a relationship could be anybody. Again, I want to reiterate, it's not about just marriage. It's any relationship that you in. It could be you. You could be the problem. The third thing is not feeling safe, right? Not feeling safe. No, I'm sorry. Let me go back. The third thing is pride. Pride. Especially, I'm going to call my men in for men and some women too. But mostly sometimes men, they don't want to admit that they need help because that says I'm less than a man. No, it doesn't. Getting help helps you be the best version of yourself that you can be for any relationship you in. And that's what our mindset should be. Not about what other people are going to think, but how do I become the best version of me that I can be? The next thing I have is people genuinely think that they can fix themselves. It's a DIY approach, do it yourself approach. Huh. I want to know how that's working for you. Because what I've experienced is when I try to do it by myself, it's harder. When I try to do it by myself, it's longer, right? We tell ourselves, I just need to work on myself. I can read some books. I can watch some YouTube videos. We're good at that. We can pray more. We can meditate more. And there's nothing wrong with praying and meditating, doing all that stuff that I just outlined, right? But what if you are dealing with something so deep that you don't even know what you're dealing with? And I'm going to call in our situation. So Andre asked me to coach him, y'all, because I am a coach. I'm a really good coach. However, I was like, no, because there's emotions in here. I don't want to be coaching you. He was like, no, I really want you to coach me. And we did a coaching session. We did several coaching sessions, and it was really good because he was starting to identify some things of why he was reacting to some ways based on his upbringing that he never thought about. Like we were bringing things out of the woodwork, but had we not done that, he wouldn't have never uncovered that. It would have still been like hidden, right? So that's what sometimes therapy does. That's what coaching does. It helps you bring out things that you didn't even know existed, and you realize, oh, that's why I do that. How can I change that? How can I move forward with that? The last thing that I have, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you. They actually don't want to change. You don't want to change. You like yourself the way you are. The behavior that maybe the other person in the relationship, or even you, if you're dealing with it on the opposite side, the behavior that you want to be addressed, somehow it serves them. Somehow it's like, you know what? I'm good. Maybe being angry gives them a sense of power. Maybe being emotional available protects them from being vulnerable with you. Maybe their dysfunction is comfortable for them. They don't want to change. They want you to accept them as they are. So the I'll get help is just to shut you up. It's to buy some time and buy some peace so they don't have to hear your mouth. I'm gonna stop for a minute because I said a lot. Andre said a lot, I said a lot. So I'm going to now let's talk. Let me stop showing that. I'm gonna go to the comments. Now, I'm going to read the comments that we had, but I want to ask all of you. Andre just went through some things about why we have procrastination. I just went through a couple of things. Did any of those ring true? And while we're waiting for you to respond, and again, this is we all got things that we're working on, right? It's okay to share here. So if you have one of those things that we just talked about that you're dealing with, either yourself or maybe a person that is in the relationship and you on the opposite side of that and you see it, we want you to comment on it. All right, I'm going to share some comments that I see on here. Kizzy is on. My sister Tosh is on. Hey, how you doing? Because Sister Tanya on too. Hey. Kizzy said fear factors can cripple a person from moving forward. It keeps you in bondage. I'm just gonna put amen. It does.
It's designed to do.
It exactly. It is exactly what is designed to do, right? And Tanika said, I have experienced that with myself and eventually got helped and changed. I was also married to someone that needed help, but didn't acknowledge the need for help. And that turned to now being in the process of divorce. Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about being on the opposite side of that, because when you see somebody who needs help and they don't get it or acknowledge it, the impact of the person on the opposite side can be detrimental. And you said, I can understand the space of not being able to reach the person. I can't sit in it anymore. I have began to take inventory of relationships that I truly value and have gotten to a place that I had to accept the fact that sometimes people don't want to put the same value on the relationship. Amen. I thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your experience with us. And it's unfortunate that we have to make decisions so that we can stay healthy, so that we can stay sane. Did you want to say anything before? I don't see anybody putting comments in yet, but yeah.
I say hello to my sister Tanya, and to everyone else. My sister-in-law Tosh, as you call her. I call her Tashala. And he's not on here, but a happy birthday to our cousin Ari Strickland.
Yeah,
he's 49 today.
All right.
So happy birthday. Hope you're enjoying it. And may God bless you with many, many more. Got a response from Miss Kaya at some point. She said amen. What else do we have here?
You did, Tanika. Tosh just responded to something you said. She said true.
Good to see Miss Kizzy on here as well.
There's probably more people on here, but those are the ones I can actually see coming through. There's a comment coming in. Hey, Tosh. All right, let me look and see if there's any comments on YouTube. Not yet. So I want to talk about, and again, if any of this resonates with you, please put some stuff in the chat. So I want to talk about the cost of the relationship, because that's important. And Tanika, thank you for, your comment, because I don't think people understand what it feels like on the flip side. And that's why I had that conversation with Andre when we first started, about how he felt when I was this person who was doing all this stuff, right? Before I start, I see Kaya said I had to forgive my sister for taking my mom off life support for me, even though I let that relationship go. And you just put this on Facebook. I saw this. We are so sorry for your loss. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that had to happen, because you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. And I hope at one point, I love you forgave your sister. I hope at one point you all can come back together. But I can definitely understand where you are right now. So our heart goes out to you, and know that we are praying, and we're sending you love and thoughts. Okay. So, but thank you for sharing, because that is hard, not being able to say bye to your mom. Mom is mom, so that's hard. So the cost of a relationship. So we talked about why people avoid getting help. Now we're going to talk about the cost, because procrastination is not free. Let me just tell you, right? That partner, sister, mama, daughter, whatever, the one that's waiting, the one that's watching somebody they love refuse to help themselves, is paying a price, a big price. Andre said this earlier, and I thank you for this. When you think about what it looks like on that opposite side, you said, I felt powerless. They can see the problem, they can see the solution, but Here's the thing: we can't make that other person take action. So we watching somebody we love struggle, watching the relationship deteriorate, and there's nothing we can do about it. That is psychological torture. I don't think people really think about that. Because in our heads, we're like, man, is there something I could do for them? You try to pump them up and you try to talk to them all the time, but they're stuck, completely stuck. And then the person on the opposite side start to feel like they don't matter enough, right? Think about it. If your partner or your friend or whomever is the person that needs help saw how much your behavior is affecting you, saw how much you were struggling, and still won't get help, what message does that send? They see you sitting there. They see you trying to keep on going, but they won't say, they won't change. They won't get help. I'm going to turn it over to you. Before I do that, let me say this one thing, because this is what it's saying. I want to say this one thing. I got two things. I'm sorry. Because what happens is you also become the unpaid therapist. Because your friend, your partner will not get professional help, guess who they dumping it all on? You. So you're managing their anger, you're managing their anxiety, you're researching their symptoms, you're providing emotional support, you're doing all this work a therapist should be doing, but you ain't no therapist, right? And you're exhausted. Am I right? I mean, tell me, am I right? You're exhausted, you're emotionally drained, you're running on empty because it's one thing to support your partner, but it's another thing to say, now I gotta be your therapist. And the last thing I will say is we start to realize that procrastination is the answer, right? First, you start thinking, maybe Andre not ready yet, right? He'll get there eventually. But after months and months of waiting, you realize that it's their choice. They're making that choice. They're choosing not to get help. They're choosing to stay that way. And when anybody chooses to stay that way, you have to ask yourself exactly what Tanika is doing right now. Am I willing to wait? Right? Because if you are willing to wait and continue to wait, you might be waiting forever. And that's what you want to do. That's what you do, right? You're accepting that ready might never come. So you have to ask yourself, can I live with this forever? Yep. Years of waiting. That's what she said. Years of waiting. Yep. Years of waiting. That's where I drew the line. It had to go. Years of waiting. And it's devastating, right? Because you love that person. You want them to get better. You want them to do, you can see it. You can see the potential in them. You know, if they just got what they needed, man, they would be amazing. But you can't be patient enough to make them change. They got to be able to change themselves. I want to turn it over to Mr. Tucker over here. I said a lot.
Sometimes that you speak, some things come to me. And waiting. And I think about when I was 29 years of age, I always knew there was a God. I always felt his presence, even from a teenager. But along the way, there are some things I was doing that I shouldn't have been doing. Some things I was thinking I shouldn't have been thinking. And I think about how long God waited for me to accept that he was speaking to me, to accept that there is a purpose and plan for my life. And I know sometimes it's very difficult. I know sometimes it's very stressful and painful waiting. But I always think about what do you call it? The measure of it all, the standard of waiting. God is still being patient with us, even in this moment. And even in the Bible, it says the first thing it says love is. The first word is patient.
It ain't years.
And it's kind.
It ain't years.
Okay.
At some point, I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm gonna have some stuff to say now. Okay, go ahead.
And I just think about being on the other end of it before we make a drastic decision that could affect ourselves or our family or even the connections that we have. Do we ask ourselves the question, have we done all that we can do? Have we helped all that we can help before we decide to disconnect? Long before the conversation. Because sometimes our disconnect happens before the conversation to walk away. So in the midst of that disconnect and in between that conversation, there's just really nothing going on. But that person's still in that state. And this is just another way of thinking. I'm not saying you should do this. I'm not saying this for everybody. But sometimes when I think about the Bible, it says love, and I know it's the love of God, and that's what we're supposed to carry and share. But it endures, it heals, it helps. And sometimes that's what love, people need some certain type of love in a different way, in another way than we're giving it. And another thing that you were saying was they're dumping it all on you. I see it as if you allow that to happen, now because your heart is changing, your feelings are changing, you don't realize you become the procrastinator because now there's a decision you want to make. Now there's a weight you're carrying. Now there's frustration inside of you that it's not desirable, and you hold it for whatever time period you decide to hold it. So there's some things you want to say. There's some moves you want to make. There are some decisions that continue to replay and repeat in your mind and in your heart. But for whatever reason, you hold it. So now you have two procrastinators in the same home, in the same space.
We do.
And we have to look at it. We're looking at a procrastinator, but we are one. But sometimes we become judgmental about the one that may have been the first one. But now we're one. And we're doing the same thing in a different way. So sometimes we have to look at ourselves too. We allow things, we become a product of our environment. And something else you said about, I can't think of what you said now. But I said all that to say this. Life is difficult in some seasons of our lives. There's going to be some hard times. There's going to be some difficult moments in relationships. There's going to be some seasons in people's lives that they don't even understand. So you can't expect to understand. But I do understand the stress of it all. I do understand there is a physical toll it takes when you procrastinate. You lose sleep. You're not mentally as energetic at work or even being as attentive. Because while you sit in something, think about more what you're sitting on. When you sit on something, think about what you're sitting in. You're sitting in this space where this heavy weight is on your heart, it's on your mind. And you feel like you're carrying a weight every day because you're procrastinating with something that needs to be released, needs to be resolved, needs to be set free, needs to be let go of so you can experience it, the assignment of it all. But when you hold that, it doesn't go away. It's in your heart, it's in your mind. You hear older people say, man, when I was about 30 years old, I wanted to do this. And if I can go back now he's 85 or she's 85 saying this to you, and it's like, that's 55 years of procrastination. You're still breathing. It's still on your heart. It's still on your mind. But God gave you all those years and you still didn't release it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
I want to.
I don't know. Go ahead.
I want to address Tanika and address what you said.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. Sometimes we compare ourselves to God, but we are not God. We're not perfect, and that is God's plan for us to be patient, to be to be kind, do all those things that are in the Bible, right? But it is really unfair to ask someone who's been waiting for 20, 30 years, been riding with you, been trying to support you all this time, and you still in the same space, or you still won't move, and you won't get no help either. So it's like it's unfair to sit and have that person, and you're right, that person, whoever, is the procrastinator because now they're waiting. And we got a series, so we're gonna talk about that too. Not today, but we're gonna talk about that because that is an issue too. You are a procrastinator if you're sitting and you haven't made a decision. You are a procrastinator if you're wanting to say something and you don't want to, and you're kind of like, oh, I don't know what to say, how to say it because you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. So there's different procrastination that we're going to talk about. But today, when you said that, I kind of felt a certain type of way just because that is so unfair for you to sit and say, God is patient. God waited for me. Yes, God is gonna wait for you. But if I'm in a relationship and I've been waiting and waiting and patient, we done talked about it. You done said you're gonna do this and you're gonna say you're gonna do that, and you don't do it. This is like evidence of this person don't even want to change. They're not gonna change no matter what I say. So am I supposed to sit in this and still be patient and patient and wait and wait and wait? Then to your point, I'm a procrastinator. So it can't go both ways. I can't sit and be patient and be like God. And then on the other end say, hey, yeah, I'm about to, you can't do both things. You can't. You got to do one or the other. So for me is, when is the wait time over? Because if I've spent years and years and years and you promise and promise and promise, well, and I say it like this: if you make a promise and then you don't fulfill your promise, then it's basically, in my opinion, and it's just me, and hey, it's my opinion, it's basically a lie. So you're feeding lies to people saying you're gonna do this, and it could be that you're stuck. It could be that you're got this paralysis. It could be all those things that you talked about, right? But why won't you get help then? If you can't do it yourself, why won't you get help? That makes sense. So I'm gonna sit in here and wait while you sit here and be paralyzed and not moving and doing what you need to do when help is right a phone call away. You got insurance, they pay for it. I mean, there ain't no excuse other than you. So all I'm saying is, and I'm gonna put Tanika's stuff on here because I agree. However, you can't wait on something more for a person than they want for themselves. Amen. I procrastinated on drawing the line sooner. The toxicity needed to be let go. Amen, sis. Amen. Because here's the thing: it's only so much that you can take. And I'm not telling nobody to leave. I'm not doing all that. I'm telling you to break no relationships. All I'm saying is, for the person that is sitting and procrastinating, don't just feed people stuff just to shut them up or to, just to be saying anything. Allow yourself to be intentional. If the relationship means that much to you, if you say you love somebody and you know you need help, you know you ain't right, why would you go get help? To be a better person, not just for yourself, but for the person you in this with, who riding and dying for you, who's saying, yeah, we're in this together. But when you think about it, if you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing, we ain't in it together. I'm in it by myself.
And that might be something for the next.
Oh yeah.
The next part of it, because now you're going over it into torment and abuse.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Psychological torment is what it is.
So we'll save that part for next time.
Because we had time.
There is a level. There are different levels to it. There are different physical adverse reactions to it, and there is a matter of the heart.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
At some point, we have to make sure we're okay.
Yeah.
Because we're not okay, and that person not okay. I mean, what are we working with?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I mean, pretty much at that point, anything goes. So my point was before, and I'm speaking on us, before you let go. That's why I spoke of the love of God. That's why I spoke of how patient God has been and still is with us. That's why I spoke of different avenues of loving and trying to reach someone before you get to that point where you break it, your breaking point. Have you done all you can, or have you sat in it with that person in silence and done nothing for a while and just let it be? And then get to a point, say, I'm tired of waiting when you've just been sitting. So that was my point.
If I think about relationships, and I think about most people, not everybody, because some people do sit in it, they won't say nothing. But if someone really cares about you, you're having a conversation. And if you're not having a conversation, you need to be having a conversation. Or really telling this person how it feels and how it's impacting you. That they're not moving and doing whatever. So I do agree that before you get to that point of saying, I'm done, have you had the conversation? Have you talked about it? But as we think about what we just talked about, I mean, the person knows you've had conversations. They promise they're going to do all this stuff. That's where I was at. That's where I'm responding to. We've already done all that. We've already been doing all this stuff. And the procrastination comes with sitting with me, or sitting with Tanika, or sitting with Nick, sitting with whomever is on that opposite side. That's where we like, okay, I procrastinated long enough, like Tanika said, on drawing the line sooner. And here's the thing, it's not something that you want to do. And she said she understood, and she truly appreciates your perspective. And guys, listen, I'm rowdy all the time, so I'm loud, and I get like this all the time. So listen, this is just Amikio. So,
and that's all you're gonna get from me.
This is all you're gonna get from him. He doesn't argue, he doesn't do it, but I'm gonna get hyped every single time. That's just what I do. Sharice, I see you say something. You said Sharice, she rise. I don't think you finished your comments. I'm gonna wait, but Tanika wrote, conversations were had time and time again. I felt like I was allowing myself to be mentally abused at this point. And that's where you draw the line.
Over to abuse.
That's where you draw the line. You cannot, from a mental standpoint, you have to draw the line and say, I cannot, because this is dealing with, now I'm about to lose myself. Thank you for sharing that. Nick said, I found that people uncare so quickly. It's really disheartening when you have no one to fight with or for. Amen. It really is. It really is, Nick. Thank you for that. And then Shirai said, when you practice self-love, you'll find the strength to have the conversation and move forward when the time comes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we have Kizzy, who said, excellent conversation. You have a 7 p.m. Hey, thank you so much for coming. Love you so much. Again, you gonna hear me get ramped up because I'm very passionate, and I always go in. That's just who I am. I ain't changing that. I'm just, I love the, just really be passionate about something that I care about. So again, you're gonna hear calm and collective over here, and then you're gonna hear rowdy and cheering on over here. So that is our time tonight, though. We want to thank everybody for participating in the chat. We really, really love the engagement. Thank you for sharing with us and listening. Listen, we all deal with procrastination one way or another. So if any of this hit home and there's something that you need to do, then we ask that you do it, do the work, get the help. And if that person on the other side, whomever that person may be, they need help, continue to press on and maybe share this podcast with them so that they can know, hey, you're going to need to change, or I'm going to have to draw the line. Sorry, but not sorry. Love y'all so much. Again, we're going to have a procrastination series for probably to the end of the year. We will be back in 2 weeks. And again, follow us on all of our social media channels, and take care.
Love you all. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in. When words